Hey there, you're looking kind of cute. Don't forget to subscribe and check out all my other socials. Enjoy. Pale shapes showed on the messy bed. Someone under the covers groaned as they woke up. Something felt different and wrong, which made them feel scared right away. Reed sat up fast, his heart beating hard. He did not feel what he always felt between his legs. It was gone. His hands shook as he pulled back the covers. He saw that his body had changed. Instead of a male body, he now had a smooth female shape. "What the?" he said. His voice sounded higher and softer. Reed jumped out of bed and almost fell because his feet were smaller. He looked in the mirror on the closet door and saw that it was all true. The reflection showed a woman. Auburn hair tumbled past slender shoulders. His own hair, somehow grown overnight to reach mid-back. The face was recognizable yet transformed. Softer jawline, fuller lips, higher cheekbones. The body beneath was unmistakably female, with gentle curves where hard angles used to be. Reed's hands shook as they explored this new form, confirming the impossible reality. This wasn't a dream or hallucination. The transformation was real, complete, and terrifyingly thorough. The closet door hung open, revealing clothes that now looked comically oversized. Reed grabbed a pair of jeans, pulling them on only to have them slide right off narrower hips. The t-shirt hung like a tent, shoulders swimming in fabric meant for a broader frame. "No, no, no!" Panic rose like bile. Every piece of clothing was wrong. Too big, too long, too masculine for this new body. Even the boxers were useless, sliding down with no hips to catch them. A knock at the apartment door made Reed freeze. The knocking came again, more insistent. "Reed, you okay in there?" I heard shouting. The voice belonged to the neighbor from across the hall. Reed wrapped the oversized t-shirt around like a makeshift dress, clutching it desperately while approaching the door. Opening it just a crack revealed a concerned face framed by graying hair. I'm having a problem." The woman's eyes widened as she took in what she could see. The disheveled auburn hair, the panicked expression, the obvious distress. "Good Lord, what happened to you?" "I don't know. I woke up like this. Nothing fits. I don't know what to do." The neighbor pushed the door open wider, taking in the full situation. Her expression shifted from shock to practical concern. "Right. First things first. You need clothes that actually fit. Wait here." She disappeared across the hall, returning minutes later with an armful of fabric. A pink sundress lay on top, along with undergarments and a pair of white sandals. "These should work. My daughter left them last visit. She's about your size now." Reed stared at the decidedly feminine clothing. The pink dress seemed to mock the situation, its cheerful color at odds with the internal turmoil. "I can't wear that." "You can't wear what you've got either, unless you plan to stay inside forever wrapped in bedsheets." The logic was undeniable. Reed took the clothes with trembling hands. "Thank you. I'll return them when I figure this out." "Take your time. And hun, maybe consider that this might not be something you can figure out. Sometimes things just are." Back inside the apartment, Reed laid out the borrowed clothes on the bed. The dress was simple, sleeveless, with a fitted bodice that flowed into a knee-length skirt. The fabric felt foreign between fingers, now more slender than before. Getting dressed proved challenging. The bra required multiple attempts before sitting properly. The dress slipped on easily enough, the zipper and back requiring flexibility to reach. The white sandals had small heels that changed the entire way of walking. The mirror revealed a complete transformation. The pink dress complemented the auburn hair perfectly, creating an image of femininity that felt both foreign and strangely right. This wasn't Reed anymore. This was someone else entirely. Liliana. The name emerged unbidden, feeling appropriate on lips that would never again speak in Reed's voice. "My name is Liliana." The first venture outside required courage. Liliana's hand hesitated on the doorknob before finally turning it. The hallway stretched endlessly, each step in the white sandals echoing off worn carpet. The elevator ride down felt like descending into a new world. Other residents barely glanced up, seeing nothing unusual about a woman in a pink sundress heading out for the day. This anonymity provided unexpected comfort. The street bustled with typical morning activity. Liliana joined the flow of pedestrians, learning to navigate in heels while the dress swished around her knees. Each passing stranger reinforced a new reality. They saw a woman, nothing more or less. The coffee shop on the corner had been a daily stop for years. Now Liliana hesitated outside, watching through the window as the familiar barista worked the espresso machine. Taking a breath, she pushed through the door. "Morning, what can I get you?" The barista's smile was professionally friendly, showing no recognition. "Large coffee, black." "Coming right up." The transaction completed without incident. Liliana found a corner table, sipping coffee while processing this first successful interaction. The world hadn't ended. People weren't staring or pointing. Life simply continued. The phone in her purse, when had that appeared, buzzed with messages. Work wanting to know about the absence, friends checking in, all addressed to Reed, a person who no longer existed in any meaningful way. Calling the office required summoning a professional tone, despite the higher voice. This is Reed's emergency contact. There's been a medical situation. He won't be in for the foreseeable future." "Oh no, is everything all right?" "It's complicated. I'll have documentation sent over soon." The lie felt necessary. How could anyone explain the truth? That Reed had simply ceased to exist, replaced overnight by Liliana in a pink sundress? The apartment felt different upon return. Masculine decor clashed with feminine presence. Liliana moved through rooms that belonged to someone else, gathering oversized clothes into bags. These would need to go, along with so many other remnants of a life no longer lived. The neighbor knocked again that afternoon, carrying a small suitcase. "Thought you might need more options. These are all things my daughter outgrew or never wore." The suitcase contained a treasure trove, several dresses, blouses, skirts, and proper undergarments. Even a few pairs of shoes in what turned out to be the right size. "I can't accept all this." "Nonsense, they're just taking up space in my closet. Besides, you need them more than I need the storage." Liliana fingered a blue blouse, soft cotton beneath her touch. "Why are you being so kind?" "Because I recognize someone in transition when I see one. Maybe not the usual kind, but transition nonetheless. We all need help sometimes." The woman left without demanding explanations or asking invasive questions. Liliana unpacked the suitcase slowly, hanging each item in the closet that had held such different clothes just hours before. Days blended into weeks as new routines established themselves. The pink sundress became a favorite, comfortable and familiar when everything else felt alien. Liliana learned to style the auburn hair, to apply subtle makeup that enhanced rather than masked. The job search proved challenging. Reed's credentials meant nothing without Reed to back them up. Starting over meant entry-level positions, but the alternative was running out of savings while clinging to an identity that no longer fit. The interview outfit was a navy skirt suit borrowed from the ever-generous neighbor. Liliana sat in the waiting room, white sandals replaced with sensible black pumps, resin clutched in manicured hands. "Ms. Liliana, they're ready for you." The interview went smoothly. Years of experience translated even through the change, competence shining through despite the career restart. When the offer came 2 days later, Liliana accepted immediately. The first day meant another milestone, professional wardrobe as a woman. The pink sundress hung in the closet between other dresses now, part of a growing collection that felt increasingly natural. Co-workers accepted Liliana without question. She was simply the new hire, competent and friendly, who sometimes brought homemade cookies to share. The auburn hair became her signature, always styled the same way, a constant in a world of variables. Grocery shopping in the pink dress one Saturday, Liliana noticed the looks had changed. No longer confusion or surprise, but appreciation. A woman complimented the dress while reaching for apples. A man held the door with a smile. These small interactions built a new normal. The apartment transformed gradually. Masculine furniture gave way to softer touches. The bathroom filled with products Reed would never have owned. Each change felt like accepting reality rather than fighting it. Months passed in this new life. Liliana, in her pink sundress, became a familiar sight in the neighborhood. The coffee shop barista knew her order. The elderly man at the bus stop chatted about weather and grandchildren. She existed fully as herself. The doctor's appointment had been postponed repeatedly, fear of medical authority overwhelming practical needs. Finally, necessity won. Liliana sat in the waiting room wearing a green blouse and black slacks, trying to formulate explanations for the inexplicable. "Ms. Liliana, right this way?" The examination proceeded professionally. The doctor showed no surprise at the discrepancy between paperwork and presentation, simply updating records with practiced efficiency. "Everything appears healthy. We'll run some routine tests, but physically you present as a typical adult female." "That's it? No questions about before?" "My job is to treat who's in front of me. You're here now as you are. That's what matters." The relief was overwhelming. Medical legitimacy meant documents could be updated, legal identity aligned with lived reality. Reed could finally be laid to rest officially. The DMV proved surprisingly simple. Forms filed, fees paid, new license issued with the correct name and gender marker. Liliana stared at the small plastic card that made everything official. The photo showed a woman with auburn hair wearing a pink sundress, the same one from that first terrifying day. Work thrived under the new normal. Promotions came based on merit and dedication. Colleagues became friends who knew only Liliana, had only ever known Liliana. The past faded like a dream half remembered upon waking. Dating felt like a bridge too far initially. The body was female, the lived experience increasingly so, but attraction remained complex. When interest finally stirred, it was for a fellow employee named David, who shared her love of old movies and strong coffee. "Would you like to grab dinner Friday?" he asked one afternoon, fidgeting with his tie. "I'd like that." The date required careful consideration. The pink sundress felt too casual, but the navy suit too formal. Finally, a black dress with modest heels struck the right balance. Liliana spent extra time on the auburn hair, making sure every strand fell perfectly. David picked a quiet restaurant, conversation flowing easily between courses. He knew nothing of before, saw only the woman across from him laughing at his stories. When he walked her home, the goodnight kiss felt like another frontier crossed. Seasons cycled through their changes. The pink sundress gave way to warmer clothes in winter, returning with spring's first warm days. Liliana built a life layer by layer: job, friends, relationship, home. Each piece clicked into place naturally. The call came on a Tuesday. David's voice shook with excitement. "I got the promotion, the one in Seattle. I know it's sudden, but would you come with me?" The decision should have been difficult. Leaving meant abandoning the carefully constructed life, starting over again in a new city, but Liliana realized the fear was gone. She could build a life anywhere now, as herself. "Yes, let's do it." Packing revealed how complete the transformation had become. Every item belonged to Liliana. Clothes that fit, photos showing only her current self, possessions accumulated over months of female life. Reed's things had long since been donated or discarded. The neighbor hugged goodbye, tears in her eyes. "You've come so far. I'm proud of you. I couldn't have done it without your help. That first day, we all need someone to lend us a dress sometimes." They laughed through the tears. The pink sundress was carefully folded into a box, too precious to leave behind despite its simple appearance. It represented the beginning of everything. Seattle welcomed them with rain and possibility. The new apartment was smaller but had better light. Liliana hung her clothes in the bedroom closet while David assembled furniture in the living room. Domestic life felt natural, another evolution in the journey. The job market proved favorable. Within weeks, Liliana had multiple offers, choosing a position that valued her experience while offering growth potential. The first day meant selecting clothes from a wardrobe now extensive enough to offer choices. New coworkers knew nothing of her history. She was simply Liliana, the competent new manager with distinctive auburn hair. The pink sundress made appearances on casual Fridays, earning compliments from fashion-conscious colleagues. David proposed on their anniversary, ring presented over dessert at the same type of quiet restaurant where they'd had their first date. Liliana's yes came without hesitation. The future stretched ahead, bright with possibility. Wedding planning meant confronting family for the first time since the change. Phone calls replaced visits. Explanations kept vague. Some accepted, some didn't. Liliana focused on building new family rather than mourning old connections lost to incomprehension. The ceremony was small, intimate. Liliana wore white, traditional, despite the untraditional path that led there. The auburn hair was styled elegantly, adorned with small flowers. David's eyes never left her as she walked down the abbreviated aisle. Marriage brought new challenges and joys. Learning to share space completely, to navigate disagreements and celebrations as a unit, Liliana embraced each moment, grateful for a life that once seemed impossible. The positive pregnancy test shouldn't have been possible. The transformation had been complete, but apparently more thorough than initially understood. Doctor visits confirmed what home tests suggested. Somehow, impossibly, life grew within. "I don't understand how," Liliana told David, still processing the news. "Does it matter? We're having a baby." His joy was infectious. They converted the spare room to a nursery, painting walls soft yellow while debating names. The pink sundress accommodated the growing bump for a while, before maternity clothes became necessary. Labor was long but uncomplicated. Their daughter arrived screaming and perfect, immediately claiming her parents' hearts. Liliana held the tiny form, marveling at what her transformed body had produced. Motherhood added new dimensions to identity. Liliana navigated playgrounds and PTA meetings, her auburn hair often pulled back in a practical ponytail. Other mothers accepted her readily into their circles, sharing advice and commiseration. Years flowed like water. Their daughter grew from infant to toddler to child, each stage bringing new adventures. Liliana documented everything, photos showing a consistent narrative, mother and child, family complete and loving. The pink sundress survived multiple moves and wardrobe purges. Now it hung in the back of the closet, worn rarely but never discarded. Sometimes Liliana would touch the fabric, remembering that first terrifying morning and everything that followed. Their daughter found it one day while playing dress-up. "Mommy, can I wear this pretty pink dress?" "Of course, sweetheart, but be careful with it. That dress is special." "Why?" "Because it helped Mommy become who she was meant to be." The child accepted this explanation with 5-year-old wisdom, twirling to make the skirt fly out. Liliana watched, emotions complex but predominantly grateful. David found her crying quietly that night. "What's wrong?" "Nothing's wrong. I'm just thankful for all of it, even the scary parts." He held her close, understanding without needing details. Their life together was built on the present and future, not the past. That was enough. The auburn hair showed silver strands now, earned through years of living fully. Liliana colored it occasionally, but never changed the base shade. Some things remained constant by choice rather than circumstance. Work evolved into leadership roles. Liliana mentored young employees, especially women navigating career challenges. Her advice was practical, grounded in experience that went deeper than anyone knew. "Believe in yourself," she told one struggling junior employee. "Sometimes life changes in ways you never expected. Embrace it." The pink sundress made a final public appearance at their daughter's high school graduation. Still fitting after all the years, it represented continuity in a life of change. Photos from that day showed 3 generations. Liliana's mother had finally come around, accepting the daughter she'd gained even if she never understood how. Empty nest syndrome hit harder than expected. The house felt too quiet without teenage energy filling it. Liliana and David traveled, exploring places postponed during child-rearing years. Each trip added memories to their shared history. Retirement planning began in earnest. The transformation that had once ended one career became irrelevant to the successful one built after. Liliana's professional reputation stood on its own merits, decades of achievement erasing any need for explanation. The neighbor from that first day sent a Christmas card every year. Now elderly and in assisted living, she still wrote personal notes. "Proud of the woman you became," the latest one read. Liliana kept them all in a box with the few photos that showed both lives. Their daughter announced her engagement over Sunday dinner. The young man was earnest and kind, clearly besotted. Liliana saw herself in her daughter's joy, remembered David's nervous proposal years before. "Will you help me plan the wedding, Mom?" "Of course, we'll make it perfect." Mother-daughter shopping trips for wedding supplies strengthened already close bonds. Liliana shared wisdom about marriage, about building a life with someone, about embracing unexpected changes. The wedding day dawned clear. Liliana wore lavender, mother of the bride elegant. The auburn hair, now more silver than not, was styled in an elaborate updo. Watching her daughter walk down the aisle brought tears and memories of her own journey to that moment. Grandchildren followed in due time. Liliana embraced the role with enthusiasm, spoiling them appropriately while respecting parental boundaries. Little voices calling, "Grandma," never failed to warm her heart. The pink sundress finally showed its age, fabric thinning and color fading despite careful handling. Liliana folded it carefully into tissue paper, storing it away. Some artifacts were too precious for regular use. David's retirement party was boisterous, colleagues sharing stories and well wishes. Liliana organized everything, decades of partnership evident in how smoothly she anticipated his preferences. Their life together had become a dance of mutual understanding. They downsized to a smaller home, sorting through accumulations of a full life. Each item told a story, but most were just things. The important elements, love, family, identity, required no physical space. Health challenges came with age, nothing dramatic, just the usual indignities of bodies wearing out. Liliana faced each with grace, grateful for decades of life in the right form. The transformation that had once seemed like catastrophe now felt like salvation. Their 50th anniversary approached. Children and grandchildren planned celebrations, unaware of just how remarkable the milestone was. 50 years since that terrifying morning, 50 years of life as Liliana. The party was perfect. Family gathered, stories shared, love evident in every interaction. Liliana wore blue, elegant, and age-appropriate. The auburn hair was silver now, but still worn in the same style established decades ago. David pulled her aside during the festivities. "No regrets?" "None, not a single one." They danced to their wedding song, slower now but with undiminished affection. Around them, the life they'd built together celebrated itself. That night, Liliana found the stored pink sundress while looking for something else. The fabric felt fragile between aged fingers. On impulse, she tried it on one final time. It still fit, though differently on an elderly body. The mirror showed a woman complete in herself. Not young anymore, but fully realized. The dress was just fabric and memory now, its purpose long fulfilled. Liliana smiled at her reflection, then carefully changed back into comfortable nightclothes. The sundress went into the donation box the next morning. Some other woman might need a pink dress to start her own journey. Liliana hoped it would serve her as well as it had served its original emergency purpose. Life continued in gentle rhythms. Grandchildren visited, bringing energy and joy. Friends gathered for book clubs and coffee. David remained a steady presence, their love deepened by shared decades. The end came peacefully, surrounded by family. Liliana faced it without fear, a life fully lived behind her. The auburn hair on the pillow was silver, but her daughter would always remember it as her mother had worn it for so many years. At the memorial service, stories were shared of a remarkable woman. Professional achievements, maternal devotion, gracious friendship. No one mentioned transformation or pink sundresses. They spoke only of Liliana as they'd known her, complete, confident, and deeply loved. The daughter found old photos while settling the estate. Most showed the mother she remembered, but a few seemed different somehow. She studied them, then quietly put them away. Some mysteries were meant to remain private. Among the possessions was a single note, handwriting shaky but legible. To whoever needs to hear this, embrace the changes life brings. You might surprise yourself with who you become. Love, L. The house sold quickly to a young couple starting their own journey. Life moved forward as it always does, carrying stories in its current. Somewhere, perhaps, another person woke to impossible change, but that was their story to write. In the end, Liliana's legacy was simple. A life lived authentically despite beginning in seeming catastrophe. The pink sundress had started it all, but courage and acceptance had carried it through. She'd become herself completely, and that was enough. The auburn-haired woman in the photographs smiled from frames on mantels throughout the family. Grandchildren would point and say, "That's Grandma when she was young." They saw nothing unusual, just a woman who'd lived and loved and left the world better for her presence. And perhaps that's all anyone could ask for, to be remembered as themselves, fully and truly, regardless of how the journey began. Liliana had achieved that and more, from the first terrifying moment in a pink sundress to the last peaceful breath surrounded by the life she'd built. The transformation had been complete, permanent, and ultimately perfectly right. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out my other socials if you want more content, early access, behind the scenes, and more. All links down below.